What are we doing? Just a minor axle repair. Don't go camping with us.
Get across.
Well, Keith insisted I start recording at this point. I'm not even sure where to start, but we left the house about 7 hours ago for a trip that should have taken an hour and 10 minutes. Well, hour and 12 minutes. And needless to say, this road that we just went down to try to find a spot is probably worse than the one that we went down last weekend. Didn't think that was possible. But my luck ran out on this one. So now I've been through 2 tires on this trip. We are literally in the middle of nowhere. There's no cell service. And there's the truck. There's my buddy Keith. Saving my butt again. It's a good friend right there. If you're in need of a good friend, I know somebody. But we're going to load up in Keith's truck here and start heading down this road, see if we can get a cell signal and get a tire. I need a full-size BFG to get out of here, because the full-size spare that I put on was just it was the right size, but it was just a road tire, and it didn't last but 10 minutes out here. So the reset has not begun. Stay tuned. Well, we made it. I'm exhausted, and I apologize in advance. I did not film any of that debacle that we just went through for the past 8 hours. We found another spot down the river, and we're going to set up camp here, and then in the morning head up to get the truck and put a new tire on it. So yeah. Little Jeep that could. Atta girl. Woo! That's some serious off-roading. I don't know if the
camera never
video would do it any justice. Yeah.
Big old steps.
Man.
It's like it's Devil's Staircase in Sedona. On the videos it doesn't look that bad, but you go down it and you're like, holy crap.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a minor axle repair.
Keith, this looks like you might have had something to do with this.
Maybe.
Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, I might have had a little something to do with it.
Chad, how do you feel about that?
Well, Keith's got me on the ground again. That never ends well.
It does for me.
Well, so tire number 2, huh?
Tire number 2.
Well, the scenery's nice, even with Keith in it.
Yeah. Oh, this doesn't have the. Did it not come with the center cap? The center cap, did it not come with one?
I didn't see one.
There wasn't one, no.
Weird.
Well, I'll give you the receipt and you can...
Yeah. Right.
So for $560, I should have got a center cap.
501.
Hey, Chad. Yep.
Hey, Chad, you come park here.
Okay, now we're good. Cool.
And here we have a Keith in his natural habitat, half naked. Oh, we need a. Where's the thumbnail picture? There we go.
Good to go.
Yeah. So Chad, what do we learn from this experience?
Turn around, don't drown. Nice. Always use the buddy system. And if you're not comfortable, trust your gut. The reset starts now. Welcome to the reset. We've arrived at camp. So a little backstory. We had this spot mapped out on GPS, or not this spot, but another spot mapped out on GPS. And Keith and I got there. Beautiful spot. I wish I could show you. I'm going to go back there in a couple months and do a video from there. One of the most pristine, awesome places that I've ever seen that you could possibly camp at in Arizona. Right along the river, huge trees like the ones behind me, but the cool thing was there was probably 100-year-old massive steel railroad bridge that spanned right over top of the campsite. I was really looking forward to showing you. Here's the catch. We were there for probably 5 minutes scouting out the ground to see where the flat spots were, and we got a terrible, overwhelming stench that made Keith start practically dry heaving. And we immediately knew something big was dead, and it was nearby. And sure enough, we went looking around, and about 2 minutes later, probably 50 yards from the campsite, were 2 massive cows that were dead, and the rigor mortis had started. I mean, they were huge. The sound of the flies was almost deafening around these cows, but the smell was what ultimately led us to leave that site. And that should have been our first sign that this trip wasn't going to go as planned. But, you know, the past few trips haven't gone as planned, so I'm not sure why I thought anything different would happen. Anyways, we started looking around for another site, and we wound up driving for about 4 hours, way far away behind a bluff, or not a bluff, a butte. And hands down the most technical, nerve-wracking road I've ever been in. I'm surprised my truck made it out in one piece eventually. Keith messed up his truck. I'll show you that in a second. When we were going up this hill, I blew a tire, and I have really good tires, but they're no match against spears. I ran right into a branch that just pierced right through the tire. I had the full-size spare, put that on, and about 10 minutes later, that one blew as well, because the full-size spare wasn't a all-terrain tire. It was just the stock road tire that came with the truck. So we decided to leave my truck there, unload it, put all my stuff in Keith's truck. We learned from last video that using the buddy system when we go to unfamiliar places is probably the best thing to do, and we were right there. So I loaded my stuff into Keith's truck, and we met Alan and Scott at this spot ultimately, and Alan before coming here. I was using my Zoleo satellite communicator. I should be a brand ambassador for Zoleo because of how many times this thing has saved my butt. But I was texting Alan. I said, you need to pick me up a tire from the tire shop. Gave him my specs. Before coming out here, Alan did that. And when we all met here last night, we made a game plan for early this morning to go back up to my truck and change the tire, which is what you just saw, and come back. And here we are. Again, we're right along the Gila River in Pinal County, Arizona. Great spot. A lot of side-by-sides going by, but it's okay. I'll take it after what you just saw me go through. A little later, I'm going to show you what I was hoping to be the star of the show, and not the main event, other than the crap that happened just a second ago. And that is my new OneTigris Northgaze canvas TP tent. The pros and cons, and there are both. Got down to about 32 degrees or 39 degrees last night, so I'm probably going to set up the hot stove in there. I don't know, I haven't quite decided. I know you want me to, so I probably will do that. But yeah, welcome. Keith, if you were to sum up in one sentence or two sentences our experience yesterday right about now, how would you put it?
Exhausting. One word.
One word, and he's right. We got here last night and it was almost deja vu, right? Like when we arrived at camp at 1 o'clock in the morning a couple weeks ago.
I mean, we were changing tires, cutting trees down to get through.
Keith literally, I brought my chainsaw on this trip and had to clear like trees, not branches, but actually fell trees, and with his chainsaw. And you got a battle scar from it too.
Good thing my double front pants protected me.
Yeah. Chainsaw safety. Maybe that'll be our next video, starring Keith. We had to clear trees, and it was gnarly. No water crossings.
No
but
water
boulders
crossings
that were as
this
big
time,
as our
yeah.
truck, pretty much. It seemed like.
Pretty crazy boulders.
But we made it, and it definitely is a story for the books. So I'll set the stove up in a bit, but this is the canvas material. They make this exact tent model in a nylon version for about the same price. The advantage over the nylon with the canvas is heat retention and durability. However, the nylon is much, much lighter and does just as good in snow conditions. This came with a stove jack. The inside of the tent is 10 feet wide diameter by 8 feet tall. You could put 2 people in here. That's about as many as you'd want. One person comfortably with the stove. Setting up this tent is no easy task, especially if you've never done it before. Setting up teepee tents of this size with 10 stakeout points takes a lot of practice. And I'm convinced, just like every other tent review I've done, that the more I do it, the quicker I will be. What I'm learning with this is the key is level ground. It has got to be very level, or you're just not going to be able to put... Teepee tents are one of those things that you see videos of guys putting them right up, or you think in your head, yeah, you just stake it out and put the thing in the middle and it goes up. It's not like that. These guys can attest. This thing literally took me about 3 hours before it got perfectly round, and I was able to get it to where I wanted. So yeah, perfectly flat land, and using the positioning cords inside to help guide you, and you should be set. put on the ground or just do it?
On the ground, definitely.
Chad, you want to get me in the video? I'll get ready.
You want to start from your left or your right?
My left.
Your left. Oh,
For the video.
there we go.
The lesson there is that when you're putting a brand new stovepipe together, it definitely should be done with 2 people. Once the burn-in happens with this, I'll be able to do it by myself. Yeah.
That part of the video.
Right.
Play some music over that part, huh?
I told you, you got to say I'm recording. You got to announce it.
How much of trips can
I
Chad
promise.
not?
If you say I'm recording, I promise I'll be on my best behavior.
Doesn't end in a mud bath like last time.
No, I don't think so.
Just use your little.
Either one of us saying it. This ain't going on YouTube, wait.
All right, so we got the fire going and it's warming up the teepee tent really well. I'm not going to keep this going all night. Just want to keep it going for an hour or so to warm up enough to let me fall asleep comfortably, and we'll be breaking things down in the morning and heading back home. No book tonight, just going straight to sleep. Good morning. Slept like a baby last night, but my allergies are driving me crazy. I will say some final thoughts on the Northgaze canvas tent from OneTigris. It feels smaller than the Mountain Cattle tent. With 2 people in here, it would be really cramped. But I think you could do it with 2 cots. You could definitely do it if you were sleeping on the ground. One thing I'll say is that when they say in their description that this is primarily for winter camping, snow trips, sub-zero, they mean that. This cotton canvas, it really holds in the heat. I looked at my thing last night. It was just so hot in here. It was 97 degrees inside the tent, 41 outside, and it was so hot I had to open the door, and I closed all the dampers on the stove to get the fire to go out, and it still took about an hour or so for the tent cooled down to a level to where I could comfortably sleep. So yeah, it's effective. The Ykk zippers on it are amazing. No problems opening and closing the doors. They're durable. Another complaint is on the stove jack area, it's a roll-up flap that would cover the stove jack if you're not using a wood stove. I don't like the fact that it's roll-up because you really have to be careful that your pipe doesn't touch that flap or the plastic cinch that holds the flap around. I would have rather it been like the MCETO Mountain Cattle teepee tent I have, where that flap is just Velcro on all 4 sides and you just take it off and store it somewhere. It just feels safer. These top vents, I think, again, if I could change anything, they've got an aluminum pole on the outside. I'll show you here in a second. That holds them open. I would rather there be an aluminum stake that goes in there that keeps it stayed open. I've noticed when you start pulling out these mid-guy lines on here that it has a tendency to, those vents have a tendency to want to close on themselves. And ventilation, obviously, goes without saying that it's very important in here. Other than that, I'm pleased. I've got it down. Like I said, it took me a long time to set this thing up. But like anything, once you do it and you figure out what the little tricks are to get it to go up quicker, you'll remember them. And I'm confident I could get this thing up in 15 minutes now. So I really like that it has a positioning cord on it, so that when you're first setting it up, you know exactly how long it needs to be. The instructions are nice. The carrying case is nice. The stakes are super heavy duty. And I like that the guy lines on the outside are reflective. That came in very handy last night. And for the price, this tent, you can get it on Amazon. Check the links down below in my Amazon influencer links. It's a decent price. So it's under $200, I believe. So it's a solid buy. But this definitely is not a tent that I will be bringing summer camping. It's just too stinking hot. So if you're in a part of the world that where you like doing some winter camping, this is a great alternative. I'd also say it's definitely a solution for if you're doing a multi-day trip. So that's about it. I think I'm the first one up this morning. So I'm going to get up and fix a Mountain House breakfast skillet. I didn't go elaborate on my food on this trip. However, Keith last night, those wings that you just saw, man, if you had smell-o-vision or taste-o-vision, you'd be in heaven like all of us were. Those were the best wings I've ever had in my life. Just an amazing meal last night. So yeah, if you like this content or you're a fan of the page and you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. But most importantly, it does more than anything if you just take 1 second, even while this video is playing, and just hit that thumbs up button down below and like it, and drop a comment. Let me know where you're from, where you're watching from. I love reading those things. And get outside. We'll do it again in a couple weeks. Well, another reset in the books, and sorry there was a lot of talking in this video. I did that just because I wanted to showcase that Northgaze canvas tent from OneTigris. Overall, I'd say that is a solid thumbs up and a good purchase. Of course, it does come with a couple nuances or whatever, but that's with everything you buy. But if you're looking for a durable, weatherproof, super hot tent for multi-day camping trips in cold weather, that's the best bet right there. Well, not the best bet, but that's a good option, especially at its price point. The guys and I have agreed that probably moving forward for the next 6 months or so, most of our videos are going to be in the trees, in the woods, up in the mountains. It's that time of Arizona where it just gets a little bit too hot to be camping down here in the lower elevations and the high deserts and whatnot. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for joining. If you or someone you know is suffering from anything that's racking the mind, stress, anxiety, addiction, PTSD, postpartum, you name it. There's a whole gamut of things that could be going on. Most importantly, go out and get some help for yourself, some professional help for you and your loved ones. Second of all, go outside, explore nature, and find your dirt road to reset. We'll see you on the next trip.